Imagine a peaceful afternoon. You're sitting in the living room, reading a book to your grandchild. Everything feels familiar, calm, and safe. But suddenly your arm slips. The book falls from your hand. You try to call your grandchild's name, but your lips stiffen, and no words come out. Your heart races, your vision blurs, and in a single, terrifying moment, everything feels out of your control. There was no accident, no fall, no trauma, just that morning. You'd gone for a longer walk than usual. The sun was gentle. You felt strong. You thought, I've walked farther before, I'm fine. But this time, your body spoke a different language, and you didn't hear it in time. I've seen many patients like this. They're careful. They eat clean. They stay active. They believe walking is the miracle cure of aging. And honestly, in many ways, it is. But I've also seen how that same familiar habit can quietly become the trigger for a dangerous stroke. Not because they moved too little, but because they didn't realize that after 70, the rules of the body start to change. Your age isn't just the number of years you've lived. It's the number of heartbeats that now come a little weaker, the blood vessels that stretch a little less, the nervous system that no longer responds as quickly as it used to. You might feel strong, but that doesn't mean your body can handle 3 extra laps around the park like you did at 50. Now let me be clear. I'm not telling you to stop walking, not at all. But I am inviting you to take a step back honestly and wisely and recognize that walking isn't dangerous unless you do it the wrong way, at the wrong time, or beyond your body's current limits. So why can something as gentle as walking become risky for those over 70? Because beneath those steady footsteps lies an aging system. A heart that tires faster, vessels that don't bounce back as easily, nerves that signal more slowly, all changing quietly, day by day. Walk with me, and let's take a closer look so you can keep moving forward, wisely, and protect your body the way it deserves. At 40, you can climb 2 flights of stairs without thinking. At 60, you get tired more quickly, but you still believe you're strong. But after 70, something quiet begins to happen. Your heart is no longer the same heart you've always known. And I'm not talking about emotions, I'm talking biology. After decades of non-stop work, the heart starts to show signs of fatigue. The chambers don't pump as strongly. The valves don't close as tightly as they used to. Most importantly, the blood vessels, your body's life highways, begin to stiffen, narrow, and lose their flexibility, that very quality that used to help your body handle blood pressure during movement. And this is where walking something so familiar can become risky after age 70. Imagine pumping water into a brand new rubber hose. It stretches, flexes, adjusts to pressure. Now imagine pumping that same water into a hose that's been sitting in the sun for 30 years, dry, brittle, a bit of extra pressure. And it cracks. Walking by nature increases heart rate and boosts blood flow. For younger people, that's a sign of vitality. But for a tired heart and stiffened vessels, every long walk, every push in pace, becomes a test. We once treated a 73-year-old gentleman, seemingly healthy, no known chronic illnesses. He came in after a mild stroke on his way home from the park. He hadn't fallen. He wasn't even that tired, just a bit light-headed, his speech slightly slurred. But brain imaging revealed a small area of acute ischemia caused by a tiny brain vessel rupturing under pressure. What had he done? He walked for over 40 minutes, in the sun, without water, without rest. For him, it was just a regular day. But for a body over 70, it was a marathon beyond its limits. You may ask, so, should I stop walking? No, but you need to change how you walk. Instead of walking fast, walk at a steady pace. Instead of walking an hour straight, walk 10 minutes, rest 2 minutes. Instead of walking until you're tired, stop while your body still feels comfortable. And especially, avoid walking in intense heat or during emotional stress. Both make the heart work harder and spike blood pressure. Something older vessels can no longer buffer easily. If you've ever experienced shortness of breath even when walking slowly, tingling or numbness in your hands or feet after light activity, feeling dizzy when standing up after sitting for a while, these are not normal parts of aging. They're whispers from your cardiovascular system. After 70, the most important question isn't, how far can I walk? It's, am I listening to my heart with every step I take? And always remember, every step only counts if it doesn't make your heart suffer in silence. If you've ever seen a stroke scene in a movie, you probably remember the drama. A person clutches their chest, collapses, screams, the whole room panics. But in real life, it rarely looks like that. Especially in older adults, stroke often arrives in silence. I once cared for a 75-year-old woman, a dedicated walker. That morning, like every morning, she left home at 6:30 a.m. to walk around her neighborhood park. No rain, no heat. Everything felt perfect. She walked steadily, waved to neighbors, all seemed normal. But about 20 minutes in, something felt different. Her left leg started to feel tired, then a bit of dizziness. Then the letters on a street sign seemed slightly blurry. She thought, maybe I just skipped breakfast. So she kept walking. A few minutes later, a friend called her name. She looked, but didn't respond. Her lips didn't move. A mild stroke had just occurred, right in the middle of her healthy morning walk. This isn't rare. Many people walk like normal, then suddenly feel something off on one side of their body, numbness in the lips, or slurred speech. Some feel like they're in a fog, disoriented, dreamlike. The problem is, it doesn't hurt. There's no loud warning. And that's why so many early strokes go unnoticed. As we age, the body's ability to regulate blood flow to the brain weakens. Moments that require more oxygen, like brisk walking or warmer weather, can leave the brain short on supply. And sometimes, all it takes is a tiny blood clot or a fragile vessel bursting to shut down part of the brain in minutes. The saddest part? Many strokes happen to people who think they're doing something good for their health. They walk because their doctor recommended it. They push for their daily step goal. They refuse to stop because 10,000 steps isn't enough yet. But they forget. After 70, the brain doesn't tolerate those same pushes. If you've ever felt one leg suddenly feels heavier than the other, your speech goes fuzzy, even though your mind feels clear, blurred vision, even though it's bright out, or just a strange, unexplained feeling that something's off. Don't ignore it. That's not just age. That might be your brain's first cry for oxygen. In life, silence is sometimes peaceful. But in medicine, the silence of a stroke is what steals futures quietly. And the greatest tragedy is that most of it is preventable if we recognize the signs and stop in time. So please, remember, walking is good. But if one step leaves you no longer yourself, then the price is far too high. I once asked a patient, "Do you often feel tired when walking?" She smiled and replied, "Of course I do, doctor. But I'm old. Who doesn't get tired? You just have to push through. If I sit around, people will say I'm being lazy." That answer stayed with me, because feeling tired, especially when you're walking gently, is not normal. It's not a sign of laziness, and it's not something you should dismiss with, "Well, I'm just old now." It's your body's way of asking for help. After 70, the body doesn't hold itself together the way it used to. Even a little sleep loss, a little stress, mild dehydration can cause your heart rate to rise, your blood pressure to fluctuate. At that point, pushing yourself through fatigue with willpower isn't strength anymore. It's quiet recklessness. Your body isn't betraying you. It's warning you every single day. But you've likely grown used to ignoring it. Some signs may seem small, but they matter. Your feet feel heavier than usual. You're short of breath after just a few minutes of walking. Your mind feels foggy, like you're not as sharp as earlier. You stumble slightly on flat ground while turning a corner. Have you felt any of these? If so, please don't scold yourself for being too weak. Fatigue isn't failure. It's a gentle reminder. Pause now to protect what's still strong. I had a patient, Mr. Thomas, 78. He used to be a fitness coach, incredibly disciplined. Even with a heart history, he walked over 6,000 steps every morning. He never let himself rest, even when he felt dizzy, even when his chest felt tight. Until one morning, he collapsed just a few steps from his front door. The stroke left him paralyzed on his right side. And what broke him the most wasn't losing the ability to walk. It was knowing that his body had said, "I'm tired," and he chose not to listen. When we're young, we're taught to fight through pain, push past exhaustion. But after 70, wisdom isn't in going further. It's in knowing when to step back. So you can keep moving forward later. Don't let pride make you ignore a strange new kind of fatigue. Don't let your resilience turn into a hidden danger. And don't let the words, "I'll just push a little more," be the last time you ever get to push at all. Reframe your mindset. Resting isn't quitting. It's how you keep going longer. Fatigue isn't weakness. It's wisdom written in sensation. You've made it through decades of life. Don't trade it all away for just a few extra steps. 10,000 steps a day helps you live longer. Chances are you have. It's everywhere on smartwatches, in supplement ads, even from well-meaning younger relatives. And if you ever say, "I only got 3,000 steps today," someone might gently nudge you. Just a few more laps, and you'll hit 10,000. At first, it sounds encouraging, but for many people over 70, it slowly becomes a source of pressure. I once met a 76-year-old woman who wore a step tracker every morning. She walked around the park until she hit 10,000 steps, even if it was hot, or even if her legs were sore. When I asked, "Why not stop early today?" she smiled. "Because the watch hasn't buzzed yet, and I don't want to fall behind the younger ones." It sounds playful, but in truth, she had turned a healthy habit into a race. Against herself. And many older adults are doing the same, not out of competition, but out of fear of seeming too old, of being seen as slowing down. But here's what we need to say clearly. Our generation didn't grow up with step counters or pressure to hit numbers. Back then, movement was natural. You walked to work, cared for the home, raised children. No one tracked it. No one had to. Now, with technology, the culture of more steps, more health has become the standard. But when that standard is applied to an aging body, the consequences aren't so gentle anymore. By 70 and beyond, your body has changed in ways step counters don't account for. The cardiovascular system struggles with prolonged exertion. Joints are more fragile and need scheduled rest. Reflexes slow, increasing fall risk. Recovery takes longer and sometimes doesn't fully happen at all. And yet, the pressure to hit the goal keeps many walking. Even when their feet ache, even when their heart begins to race irregularly. You know what's heartbreaking? Those very steps meant to promote health can lead to stroke, heart attack, falls that fracture bones and take away independence. Or simply, losing the joy of walking because it became about chasing a number. So instead of asking, "How many steps did I take today?" try asking, "Did I walk today with comfort, ease, and safety?" Because each step shouldn't be an obligation. It should be a moment of connection with your body. You don't need 10,000 steps to be healthy. You just need to walk at the right pace, at the right time, and in a way that keeps you safe. If you find yourself walking just because the watch isn't satisfied, if you push through fatigue because "I did it yesterday," if you feel guilty every time you don't meet your step goal, that's your cue to pause and ask, "Am I taking care of my health or testing its limits?" After 70, the most valuable lesson isn't in how much you walk, it's in the quality of every step you take. Mr. Richard, 74, was a former bridge engineer, disciplined, strong, and very serious about his health. Every morning, he walked for exactly 1 hour, rain or shine. "The doctor said I need to stay active," he told me, "so I don't allow myself to slack off not even a day." But one morning, after about 30 minutes, he started feeling dizzy. He thought, "Maybe I just need my morning coffee." A few days later, the dizziness turned into chest pain. Still, he kept walking. Same route, same pace, until one day he collapsed on the steps of his own home. A spike in blood pressure nearly caused a stroke. I'll never forget Mr. Richard, not because he did something wrong, but because he did the right thing. The wrong way. After 70, how you walk matters far more than how far you walk. Walking is still a beautiful gift, but it must be done with kindness toward the body, not like a military routine. I often tell my older patients, walking is not an endurance test. It's a conversation with your heart, your feet, and your breath. So if you ask me, how should I walk safely after 70? I won't hand you a checklist. I'll give you a picture. It's a cool morning. The sun is just rising. You're walking slowly on flat ground. No rush, no pressure. You wear soft, supportive shoes that won't slip. You carry a small water bottle and sip from it now and then. You walk with a companion, maybe a friend, maybe a trusted walking stick. You pause a few times, not because you're tired, but because you want to breathe deeper, to notice the trees more clearly. That is walking after 70. Not fast, not far, but steady, gentle, and safe. If you have medical conditions, high blood pressure, heart disease, or arrhythmia, talk to your doctor before starting a new walking routine. And if you've ever experienced irregular heartbeat while walking, dizziness mid-rote, darkened vision after picking up your pace, stop, rest, hydrate, and if needed, get your heart checked as soon as possible. These days, you have tools that can help: smartwatches, fitness bands. They're not just fancy tech toys. If you've had heart concerns before, they're your quiet companions, helping you spot danger before it arrives. And the most important thing I want to remind you, not every step needs to prove something. Some steps are simply meant to bring you peace. After 70, walking is no longer a race. It's a sacred moment to connect with life, with nature, and with yourself. Walk just enough. Walk at the right time. Walk while listening. And above all, don't walk to check off a number. Walk to live one more meaningful day. I've witnessed many stroke cases over the years. Some people were lucky enough to make it to the hospital. In time, their lives were saved. But what haunts me most isn't the emergency moment. It's the look in their eyes afterward, confused, hollow, lost. One elderly man once asked me in a trembling voice after a stroke, "Doctor, am I still me?" And honestly, it's one of the hardest questions to answer gently. Because the truth is, a stroke doesn't just damage the body. It injures your identity. A man who used to make his own morning coffee now needs help with every spoon of porridge. A woman once known for her quick wit can no longer pronounce her own thoughts clearly. A grandfather who used to take his grandkids for evening walks now sits motionless by the window, only his eyes still moving. After 70, a stroke doesn't just scare you. It rearranges everything you once called familiar. Brushing your teeth, tying your shoelaces, picking up the phone, signing your name. The things you once did effortlessly can suddenly become a long, uphill battle. Statistics show nearly 40% of people over 70 never regain full mobility after a stroke. 1 in 3 need round-the-clock care for basic daily tasks. Many lose the ability to communicate, memory fades, and some fall into depression, feeling trapped in a body that no longer feels like theirs. And sometimes, the hardest part isn't the paralysis. It's no longer being able to do the things that once made you feel useful. I remember a former patient, Eleanor, 81. After a minor stroke, she could still walk, but couldn't recall the dishes she used to cook for her grandkids. Whenever her family mentioned the name of a dish, she'd smile and nod, but her eyes welled up. "I don't feel like the fun grandma anymore," she once told me. "I feel like a body that forgot who it used to be." That hits hard, doesn't it? And yes, stroke is a shock to both the body and the soul. But what I want to emphasize here isn't fear. It's this. Most of it is preventable. How? By making small, conscious choices every single day. Don't push your body beyond its limits. Don't ignore subtle warning signs. Don't let social pressure drown out the fact that your body has carried you for decades. And now, it needs care, not command. We've spent a lifetime taking care of others. Now's the time to learn to take care of ourselves, with awareness, respect, and the courage to say, "That's enough," when needed. A well-timed pause could save the rest of your life. Admitting you're tired might preserve your voice, your memory, your freedom. Don't wait until you have to relearn how to hold a spoon to appreciate the power of rest. Don't wait until you can no longer say your loved ones' names to realize how meaningful a short, safe walk can be. You can still live well, live joyfully, but now live with the wisdom of experience, not the reckless strength of youth. There was a time in life when we walked fast, to get somewhere, to finish something, to keep up with others. But then, after a certain age, we begin to understand that slowing down doesn't mean falling behind. It means we're finally seeing clearly. After 70, walking is no longer a test of endurance. It's no longer something to check off a to-do list. It becomes a ritual, a private moment between you and the body that has carried you through decades. And that moment deserves to be done with awareness, not pressure. I once met an 82-year-old woman. She didn't wear a smart watch. She had no idea what 10,000 steps meant. But every morning, she stepped out into her garden, walked around the house for 15 minutes, paused to admire a tree, massaged her feet a little, then went inside to make tea. She didn't follow any fitness plan, but every step she took was full of meaning. I asked her, "Aren't you afraid you're not walking enough?" She smiled and said, "I don't live to walk more. I walk to live deeper." That answer is what I wish all my patients could understand. Because walking itself isn't what's good. It's walking the right way at the right time within the right limits that becomes a true gift to your older self. Let go of the buzz from your devices. Let go of the urge to compare. And instead, ask yourself, today, am I walking because my body needs to move, or because I'm afraid of being judged? Am I walking to connect with life, or to avoid guilt from resting? You know what? Resting at the right time is a form of wisdom. Slowing down when needed is intelligence in action. And saying, "This is enough for today," is how your body knows you truly care. After 70 years of living, there's nothing more you need to prove. You've been strong. You've been busy. You've given so much. Now strength means knowing when to pause. Being busy means making time to recover. And giving back means gifting yourself a life that feels safe, calm, and truly well-lived. At this stage, walking isn't about racing time. It's about walking with time like two old friends, strolling side by side, slow and steady, savoring every step. Choose to walk when the sun is gentle. Carry a bottle of water like you're caring for a friend who needs a little more help. Sit on a park bench when your heart needs a break, and never feel ashamed of it. And if one day you only manage 1 lap instead of the 3 you did last week, see it as your body adjusting, not declining. Tell yourself, I'm not falling behind. I'm listening more closely to myself. Aging is the final chapter of a vivid, beautiful book, and every step now, if done with presence, becomes a beautiful line etched onto the last pages. Because in the end, what matters isn't how far you walked. It's whether you were truly there with every step you took. You know, when I was younger, I used to think being healthy meant walking fast, going far, and never getting tired. But the more I worked with older patients, the more I realized. Being healthy means slowing down enough to hear your own heartbeat. Together, we've explored many things today. How the heart changes after 70. How strokes can strike suddenly, like a thief in the night. How small warning signs are often ignored when we're just tired. The pressure to walk more, stay strong, never slow down. And finally, how to walk safely, meaningfully, and kindly with ourselves. None of this is to scare you. None of this is to stop you from moving. It's simply to help you walk with awareness and to live fully in each step. If there's one message I hope you'll carry after this video, it's this. After 70, your body doesn't need pushing, it needs listening. You don't need to walk far, you need to walk right. Every slow, gentle step. Every time you stop for water. Every minute you rest under the shade of a tree. That is you caring for yourself, not through achievements, but through wisdom. And guess what? You are not alone in this journey. There are so many others just like you, caught between wanting to stay healthy and not knowing what enough looks like anymore. If something in this video spoke to you, I hope you'll share it. Write down one small thing you'll do differently, starting tomorrow. Maybe it's, I'll take a break halfway through my walk. I'll bring a water bottle with me. I'll stop pressuring myself to hit 10,000 steps. Or simply, I'll listen to my body more. You don't need a big goal, just a small act from a heart that's listening. Gentle medical reminder. If you have conditions like high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, diabetes, or a history of mini-strokes, please consult your doctor before changing your walking routine. Don't increase time, pace, or test your limits without guidance. If you feel dizzy, numb, get a headache, or have a racing heart, stop and rest immediately. And if you use a health tracker, don't just watch the numbers, learn to listen to how you feel. Because sometimes your body speaks before the device does. Soft call to action. CTA. If this video was helpful for you, don't hesitate to hit like to help others see this message. Share this with someone you care about, especially someone who walks regularly. And drop a comment. Senior health tips if you'd like to get more guidance like this. Thank you for taking the time to listen. And thank your body for carrying you through all these years. We can't change our age, but we can change how we walk through it. And that choice will shape the rest of your journey.